Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you in another video. All right, so we got a game with the Dallas Mavericks tonight, and they are 23-19, fourth in the West. We, the Los Angeles Lakers, I believe it said we were, I don't remember what our record was, but it's not very good. But we're 11th in the West, and we're tied for that. Last I checked, lost to the Denver Nuggets after having a nice 5-game winning streak where we ran across some really nice home wins against some Eastern Conference teams. That we're really proud of. We're definitely proud of beating them. Went up to Sacramento, got them, but of course, we can't win them all. Went to Denver, and Bron wasn't able to give it a go, and we just didn't have a good game out of our guys for the most part. Effort was there, intensity was there, but the execution was poor, and IQ was poor, and we got beat by the best team in the West today, the Denver Nuggets. Well, now, after 3 days rest, we've got another game tonight, 7 o'clock. Here in Los Angeles against the Dallas Mavs. And the Dallas Mavericks are a team that just beat the crap out of us on Christmas Day in embarrassing fashion because we decided we wanted to run 5 guards on the floor for a good portion of the game. And it was one of the worst performances of the Los Angeles Lakers season and the worst time to have it. Luka Doncic went on to kick our butts, and he was in the midst of a very, very strong 7-game winning streak that consisted of him putting up some of the best numbers we'd ever seen in our lives. He had a game the very next night, or the next game after beating us against the New York Knicks at home, where he went for 60 points, 21 rebounds, and a double-digit assist number that I don't remember. But it was a triple-double that was just one of the best lines you'll ever hear of in your life in a winning game there. Then he went on to beat the Rockets twice, San Antonio once, putting up 40-point game triple-doubles, 43-point games, stuff like that. Just absolutely a phenomenal stretch. And then they ran into the Boston Celtics, and they humbled them pretty good. This Boston Celtics humbled them and snapped that winning streak. And then from there, they started tumbling a little bit. Since they've lost 3 out of their last 4 games, if I'm not mistaken, including 2 straight losses now against the OKC Thunder, where they really had a nice efficiency game out of, the Thunder did out of SGA. Kind of ran them out of there with just high efficiency numbers. And ultimately a game against the Clippers where Kawhi did the same thing to him. So that's what we're running into, is a Dallas Maverick team that's struggling a little bit, but Luka Doncic will be available. So that's really the thing. You got a player of that magnitude coming in, and the dynamic is if you stop him, you stop them. Simply put, he is one of the best players in all of basketball, obviously, and he tends to control the pace of every game he's in, and with every possession he can just continue to strike you, whether it would be with the pass, the 3-point shot, or any type of driving at the rim package moves that he has. He's one of the best, and he has a big body, and he knows exactly how to use it, back to the basket, whatever necessary, draw fouls, hit incredible trick shots, you name it. He's capable, and he's capable of doing it all game long, and will, because his team rarely pulls him off the floor. He usually plays about 40, 46 minutes, whatever is necessary. He's playing the whole game. So I think the recipe for to really attack the Dallas Mavericks for everybody is to essentially do your very best to put the referees in a position to need to call fouls against him. Now, whether or not they're going to blow that whistle, it's up to them. But the point is, you want to put yourself in a position to have him look as if he's fouling you more than he probably is. Flop off of him, draw fouls, attack him, drive at him. Anything that's going to put pressure on him to be in foul trouble is basically a recipe for success for any team going against the Dallas Mavericks. Because if he gets removed from the floor, they can't compete. You have a couple players on that floor who can do good things, but as a unit, they're not built to succeed, and they don't play well enough together without him to ever actually be cohesive enough to do anything without him. That's the problem that they have. Their bench consistently gives them pretty much nothing every single night. And as a result, they're a bad basketball team. Without him, they cannot function at all. So it's one of those situations where that's what I see. I see a one-man band. You just got to stop him, stop them. They do have guys like Christian Wood who can go off, even though he had a game where he had 3 rebounds in 34 minutes of play against the Clippers. And at that height and that length, and for what it is that they need as a basketball club, I don't know how that happens. But if he rebounds like that tonight against Thomas Bryant, it's not going to be good for the Dallas Mavericks, I tell you that. It ain't going to be good for them. So that's something that stood out in that Clipper game. You're not going to win too many games when your center is playing that much and not rebounding at all. So I don't know what's going on with Christian Wood, but if he play like that against us tonight, it's going to help. It's going to help the Lakers. So, I'm looking at that, and I look at like Davis Bertans not really getting a lot of looks this year. Spencer Dinwiddie's efficiency issues have been up and down. Reggie Bullock's been in and out of the lineup here and there, not really doing a whole lot. Norman Powell, some games you'll get 19 points out of Norman Powell, other games you get nothing out of Norman Powell. It's just a very inconsistent bench. They do got a guy by the name of Jaden Hardy, who's a young player. I think it's a second-year guy who's starting to really get some real minutes coming off of their bench. I expect him to want to show out tonight against the Los Angeles Lakers off the bench. So be ready for Jaden Hardy, who's a very, very aggressive, powerful guard, forward combination who's going to be coming at you. So I'm ready for him. I know what he can do, and he's going to want to make a name for himself sooner than later. And I just imagine that this is a good night for him. Just in terms of feel and where he's at in his career, where the options, the opportunities have started to become available to him over the last several weeks. This is one of them games where you're like, if you're the Los Angeles Lakers, have them circled. Be ready. Him and Spencer Dinwiddie particularly, because Spencer's coming home. He's from LA. So is Christian Wood, but I just look at Spencer Dinwiddie and say he struggled some. I'm sure as a guard in that rotation, especially as a natural point guard, I don't think anybody really, and this is just my own point of view, I don't think anybody really wants to play with Luka Doncic as a guard. You can't possibly want, because he's going to control the entire situation, and you're going to get whatever you can get off of that. Now, he's going to pass to you because he's an excellent playmaker, but the majority of what goes on, you ain't never going to walk the ball up, you ain't never going to dribble the ball, you ain't never going to get no ISO, none of that. It's never going to happen if you play for the Mavericks, which is a problem. I think they need to open up their game style. I think they need to not be so Luka Doncic-eccentric, because like I said, you stop them, you stop him. You stop him, you stop them, rather, and it shouldn't be like that. They do have enough dynamic rotation possibilities. They just don't go to them ever. And so, like I said, you'll never see it. It's not that they can't play together, it's just that they never do. So the little special moments in time where they have to, they're getting run out of the gym by units that play with each other every game. So that's the advantage the Lakers have on this team. We actually use our bench. We actually have players, and we feature them, and we do all kinds of different things with our rotations to allow guys to get their shots up. Dallas ain't doing that. They are not doing that. Spencer will get his shots. Christian will get his shots. If Reggie's on the floor, he'll get his looks. And, of course, we got to mention Tim Hardaway Jr., who's in a good groove right now. So he's their second option right now, if you ask me. But he's just catching and shooting. That's all he's asked to do. He parks it from behind the arc and shoots, relocates and shoots. And then runs around and gets in the transition and hits the layups and dunks and stuff like that. But other than that, it's the type of player you want playing off of Luka Doncic. He's never going to want to get an ISO. He's not looking to dribble you to death like his pops did. He's going to complement that, just like a Klay Thompson would, just like a Bradley Beal would, that kind of thing. So if you're not that type of player, you don't even want to be on the Dallas Mavericks, if you ask me. They just need all catch and shoot guys and just let Luka Doncic Iverson the situation. It's all him all the time. So just get him in foul trouble, and the Dallas Mavericks are soft in the middle. They got nothing. They got absolutely nothing. You got JaVale McGee, who's probably going to want to do some good things, but they don't keep him in rotation properly enough to give them the rim protection that he would otherwise provide, I don't think. So as I look at their team, I don't fear them. They got a half of the talent on the back of the bench they do not use. Half of these names, I would have did homework on them if they ever get any minutes. If they do get minutes, if they're not hitting shots and sitting down. So it's just like, all right, just stop Luka Doncic if possible. And I'm not saying it is, because 60, 21, 10, or whatever he did against the Knicks can obviously be done against us and our defense if we don't keep our eye on what it is he's capable of doing and try to take it to him in a way that removes him from the floor, as I'm saying. That's all it is to it. I mean, I honestly don't think the Dallas Mavericks are a team anybody should be fearing. Last year, yeah, because they were a bit more cohesive and they attacked you a certain way with that small ball that was hard to defend because they stretched the floor so well. That is not the team they have this year. They don't have Jalen Brunson attacking from the little mid-range spots that gets easy buckets, and instead they're looking for those buckets elsewhere, and they have to get them from Luka Doncic because nobody else is going to get them. And the style of play is not going to allow for anybody to dribble around. They didn't waive Kemba Walker, which I thought was a head-scratcher because they wasn't even playing him. You know what he can do. But it's like he's an ISO guy. So if he's dribbling, Luka's not, and that's like illegal over there. So whatever, man. Dallas going to get in their own way every time, if you ask me. If they don't find a way to duplicate what they had Dirk down there with the year they won a championship, when they had Jason Terry and Nick Van Axel and all these different awesome shooters all over the roster, that gave them more dynamic than just feeding one player over and over again and asking them to take them to the promised land. That is a old school way to play, and if Mark Cuban does not help himself, he's going to lose that player. I'm going to tell you right now, if he doesn't wisen up, and that GM over there, they don't wisen up and understand that they are wearing Luka down and not going to allow him to have a good enough team to win a championship, then that's just what's going to happen. They're not going to win nothing. They're going to have an awesome player for a very short amount of time because they're going to wear him down, and it's going to be curtains for them. So that's what I see, man. I'm pretty pessimistic about the Dallas Mavericks team. I don't like nothing they got going on over there. I think it's too Luka-centric, and I don't think that's the way you can win. It's going to electrify the crowd. He's going to be the greatest player ever, but not when it comes to winning. You're going to get beat by a deeper team every time. So that's what I see happening there, man. And I think of us as a deeper team, believe it or not. We do have a deeper team because we use our players in better rotation. Even though it's not a strength of ours, better than Dallas. So that's what I expect us to do. We're going to go out there and try to neutralize the one offensive threat that they're going to want to repeatedly use. Now, obviously, they do have others, though. Dinwiddie can get hot, as I said. Wood can get hot. Bullock can get hot. Expect Hardaway to be hot. These are things that we know can happen. Hardy is an aggressive player, as we said. That's pretty much the attack that's coming at you. Davis Bertans is in rotation. I think they could use him a little more than they do. So it's like, you got his contract on deck eating up a bunch of the cap as well. It's like you gave away some assets to acquire him, and now you only use him for half a season. And then this season he's barely being used. It's like, this is why you don't make that trade in the first place. But Dallas with Dallas. You know what I mean? So we would take advantage. I think our Los Angeles Lakers, coming off of the loss against the Denver Nuggets, we lost some confidence in Russell Westbrook to help us in situations like that. When Bron ain't out there, you're just going to live and die with his mistakes, and it's never going to lead to a victory. It has yet to lead to a victory if he's running things, and that's just what it is. We didn't manage him properly. Dennis Schroeder came back down to earth, gave us not so good Dennis. It was more like DSBS, as we used to call it, before the run. And we need him to rectify that immediately, man. We don't need him to go in no slump because we've become reliant upon him, especially with so many scorers out. Now, we do have LeBron James expected to return to the lineup tonight, which is a heaven sent, obviously. And we also got Troy Brown, who's expected to return to the lineup, which is an excellent thing for our team as well. We're still down Lonnie, still down Austin, still down Anthony. We expect those guys to be coming back sometime within the next couple weeks, all of them. So hopefully we can get healthy very soon. And take it to wherever we see from there. But for the time being, I think this is a really, really good game for us to rectify something that we should have rectified, which is putting size on the floor against Dallas and actually giving ourselves a chance to compete against them, which we didn't do on Christmas Day. One of the more irritating basketball games I've had to watch this season. There's been several for sure, but that one was pissy. That was one of the ones where you're throwing your phone across the screen because you see what they're doing is not giving you an opportunity to compete with everyone under 6'5" being on the floor for the whole third and fourth quarter, basically. So we want to see Darvin Ham not even consider that, especially given the fact that we have all this size back. Thomas Bryant has taken on a much bigger role since then. And we're just a better team since then, obviously, having been on the run we've been on. So they're a struggling basketball team. Dallas is having lost to two teams they probably shouldn't have lost to. And they're going to want to rectify that against us, and I think that we can beat them too. And with the stretch that they're on, Luka Doncic is going to put up his 45 points. He's going to get his triple-double or whatever. But it doesn't necessarily equate to them being victors if the other team takes care of their business. And most importantly, gets him in foul trouble. Find yourself intent on building the entire game plan around making it physical for him. You know what I mean? If you do that and get him in foul trouble, he's out of here. That's it. Their team is going to have to rely upon people that don't play well with one another or play enough with one another to know if they can play well with one another. And as a result, we should be able to attack them. We should be able to attack them a lot. I don't fear them, and you shouldn't either. That's the way I see it. Dallas Mavericks, they have a player you should fear. And his numbers are going to be scary, but it's because he's doing everything. That 60 points is always going to be there with every team. It's just going to be dispersed amongst other players, and that's an illusion. You're like, oh, my God, I can't beat Luka. Oh, because he's scoring for 60 and all this other stuff. That's the production that other dudes on his team should be doing, and they would otherwise have if they just pass the ball around and do a little more with others. So that's by choice. We can lean that way if we want to. Just give the ball to LeBron every single play. Like, yeah, we can do that. and he'll have 60 and 21 and 10 too. You know, it's like it's a style of play, and it's just his skill set being able to take advantage of that in the highest order. But in this league, you can't win anything substantial that way. You can win regular season games for sure. But once the playoffs come around, if you don't have a real attack like they had and a good defensive foundation like they had, out of here. I don't even know if they make the playoffs this year. And I know they're in fourth place. I don't think they stay there. So there's one of them situations where I'm like, this is a team, it's an optical illusion. They look like they're a really good team, but honestly, they suck without their greatest player. Get him out of there, and they out of here. Period. That's all there is to say. I'm looking at Thomas Bryant. I'm saying what you've been doing is consistency. We never even knew you had in you, man. I knew you can probably get a double-double here and there, but I didn't know he would be able to come in and get it every single night consistently. And so that's what he's been doing throughout the duration of this winning streak, including the Denver game. Even though he didn't have the greatest game, he still was able to get solid numbers and put up what we'd expect from him now at this point. So that's what it's about. Understanding that the defense is going to be getting on him a little more so now. They respect who he is as a different caliber player. So we got to continue to try to respect his foul trouble. Teams are going to want to get him off the floor. Luka's going to want to put him in position to have him backpedaling and drawing contact. So we got to look for that. Look for the mismatches that Luka tries to find himself into. He's going to look for the switch. He's going to look for the patsy defensive player that he can shoot over and do all kinds of funny stuff to. So just know that. And don't put him in that position. Keep him on the floor with players that are tall enough to switch off to him. Because that's the complete opposite of what we get against him on Christmas. And we saw what he was able to do against that. It was easy. It was real easy. And it was fun. And I didn't like it. So I want us to get some revenge tonight. This is our home floor. You know what I mean? And Luka should not be able to come in and just be the biggest, brightest star tonight. He should not be able to do that. We got to protect this house. I don't care who's on the other end of that floor. They're coming in here and they're ops facing purple and gold. So that's the mentality. I expect the fans are going to go crazy. I expect LeBron James is going to suit up. These games matter. I know we wanted to load manage that Denver game, but I didn't think that was the one to manage that way. No, you wanted to compete and win that game, and I just felt like the Lakers should have scheduled a different game to lose, not one against a playoff contender that you've already won 2 games against. Absolutely not. But I will tell you this, we need to beat this team tonight because we could very well face up against them as well in the playoffs. We don't know what the path is, but we know every team in the West is pretty much bunched together. So these games matter. We got to get victories, especially against struggling basketball clubs that can't beat the Clippers or OKC Thunder. If they can't beat neither one of those teams, then chances are, if we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, they're not going to beat us either. So that's what it is, man. We got to take advantage of the slump they're in. We ran them last time. They were super hot. Cool. They beat us. Cool. Now they're running to us. We're kind of hot. And they're struggling. So they've cooled off. So we need to go ahead and light them up. So that's pretty much what I got to say, man. That's it. This ain't going to be that long of a video in regards to the Dallas Mavericks. I watched highlights of their Clipper game and studied numbers on most of their games, but I didn't want to watch highlights of that. I just didn't care to be honest with you. I know Luka Doncic is an amazing player, but if I want to watch Dallas Mavericks highlights, I just click the words Luka Doncic highlights and just watch his highlights because he's the only one doing anything. That's it. So that's what we're going to see tonight. We're going to see Luka Doncic probably jack up about 30 shots, probably going to get a triple-double with like 45 points. And if we're able to match that on our side, we'll get the victory. That's exactly what I expect to see. Keep an eye on the referees. BL44. I thank you all for watching.